He must marry before midnight to keep his empire, yet the impossible woman he picks refuses to play the bride. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's return to our main character. The rain is coming down in sharp, silver lines, drumming against the glass walls of the 49th floor executive lounge where Adrian Blackwell stands alone. It's 10:43 p.m. His empire, built on steel, software, and the last wishes of his late father, hangs by a thread thinner than the second hand of the vintage pocket watch he's gripping. Midnight. That's the deadline carved into the inheritance clause. Marry by midnight or hand over Blackwell Industries to Victor Hale, the cousin who has been circling like a vulture for years. The watch ticks against Adrian's palm, the metal cold, almost scolding. He closes his eyes for a second, hearing his father's gravelly voice, "A leader protects the legacy, son. Not just the company, our people." But leaders don't usually find a bride in the last 77 minutes before losing everything. Yet here he is, shoving the pocket watch back into his coat, grabbing the emergency contract folder from his desk, and heading toward the elevator. The city below flickers with headlights and neon, a restless heartbeat. Adrian moves with the clipped, controlled steps of a man who has spent his whole life being watched, measured, judged. But tonight, the control is cracking. When the elevator doors slide open, he steps into the storm. The wind punches cold against his face as he walks the 2 blocks to a tiny, warm elite coffee shop still open this late. A place he never would have entered if desperation hadn't ripped away his pride. It smells like vanilla, old wood, and the comfort he hasn't felt since childhood. Behind the counter is Maya Hart, the woman who spilled hot coffee on his $1,000 shirt that very morning and then apologized like she truly meant it. The woman who looked him in the eye, unafraid of his power, unimpressed by his last name. Impossible. Uncooperative. Honest. Exactly the kind of woman who would never agree to something as absurd as a contract marriage. Exactly why she's the only one he trusts right now. She wipes down the counter, humming softly, unaware her life is about to be cracked open. Adrian steps toward her, rainwater dripping from his coat, heart thundering like it's trying to outrun the clock. Maya looks up, startled. "You're back? Did I miss a spot on your shirt or something?" He shakes his head, breath tight. "No. I need something else." She pauses, eyebrow raised. "What?" "Coffee." "A wife," he says, voice low, steady, impossible. Maya freezes. The cloth in her hand slips to the floor. Adrian holds out the folder, the contract glowing faintly under the warm lights. "I need to marry someone before midnight to keep my company. And I'm choosing you." For a heartbeat, the world between them goes silent, except for the storm hammering the windows. Maya stares at him as if he's speaking another language. And maybe he is, because nothing about this night makes sense. But the clock is ticking. And destiny is moving. Part 1 ends here. For a long second, Maya just stares at Adrian as the storm beats against the windows, turning the glass into a trembling sheet of silver. The words he has spoken do not even sound real. A wife. He is standing there in a rain-soaked coat, holding a contract folder like it is some kind of life raft, and he is asking her to marry him before midnight. It is absurd. It is unbelievable. It is happening. Maya's voice comes out soft, almost a whisper. "You need to marry someone tonight? And you chose me? Why?" Adrian takes a slow breath, and for the first time since stepping into the shop, there is something vulnerable in his eyes. "Because you are the only person today who looked at me and did not see money. You spilled coffee on a shirt that cost more than your rent, and you apologized like I was a normal man. You talked to me like I was just some guy." She folds her arms, trying to keep her voice steady. That does not answer anything. You cannot just walk in here and throw a contract at me and expect me to say yes. I do not expect you to say yes, he replies. I expect you to hear me out. He sets the folder on the counter and opens it. Papers, signatures, legal seals. A marriage agreement that looks painfully real. I lose everything at midnight, Adrian says, his tone tight but honest. My father's company. Thousands of employees who depend on it. My life's work. All of it goes to my cousin, Victor, if I am not married by 12 o'clock tonight. Maya blinks. That is insane. It is the clause my father wrote before he died, Adrian answers. He believed marriage showed stability, responsibility, leadership. He did not expect me to still be single. Maya shakes her head, the idea spinning around her like loose sparks. Why not marry one of your rich friends? One of those women who follow you around online? Someone who actually knows your last name. Because I cannot trust any of them, Adrian says. Not with something this important. Not with something this vulnerable. His voice drops, steady and heartbreaking. But I trust you. Maya's breath catches for a reason she does not want to admit. The storm outside cracks thunder across the street, and for a moment, the entire shop flashes white. She steps back, gripping the edge of the counter. This is crazy. I work part-time and barely make rent. I am not some perfect bride who can smile in photos and pretend to be part of your world. Then do not pretend, Adrian says quietly. Be exactly who you are. She laughs nervously. Do you even know who that is? A woman who speaks the truth even when it scares people, he replies. A woman who did not hesitate to tell me I was blocking the creamer station this morning. Heat rises in her cheeks despite the cold draft sneaking in from the door. That was before I knew you were you. And that is why I came here, he says. Because you knew nothing about me, and still, you treated me like a human being. Maya looks at the clock on the wall. The second hand ticks in a sharp circle. 10:51 p.m. time is slipping. Options shrinking. Life tilting. She swallows hard. What happens if I say no? Then I walk out of here, lose my company, and start over from nothing, Adrian says honestly. I will survive. But everything my father built will be torn apart by a man who should never lead it. The honesty lands heavier than the thunder. Maya glances back at the small photo taped to the register. Her sister, Eva, smiling in a hospital gown, tired but brave. Bills overdue. Treatment paused. Life on hold. Adrian follows her gaze and softens. I know your sister is sick, he says gently. I looked into your background before coming here. Not to manipulate you, but because if I was going to ask a stranger to marry me, I needed to know she was real. Her breath tightens. You checked on me. Only enough to understand what this choice might cost you, he replies. If you agree, I will cover every medical bill she has. Completely. No tricks. No conditions beyond the marriage contract. Maya's heart pounds against her ribs. She hates that he knows her struggle. She hates that he is offering something she desperately needs. And she hates that he is not lying. Not manipulating. Just standing there, waiting. The storm rages, the clock ticks, and her world narrows into a single impossible decision. She whispers, barely audible, let me see the contract. Adrian slides it toward her with steady hands. The moment she touches the paper, their fates begin to bend. Part 2 ends here. Maya runs her fingertips over the crisp edge of the contract, feeling the weight of every word before she even reads it. The shop's warm lights flicker as the storm outside grows louder, rattling the windows like the night itself is urging her to choose. Adrian stands still, watching her with the tense patience of a man who has already lost too much time. She opens the folder, her eyes landing on the first clause. Marriage valid for 30 days. No physical obligations. No interference in each other's personal lives. Maya glances at him. You wrote no affection into this. Adrian nods. I wanted you to know you are safe. This is a legal partnership, not a trap. She moves to the next clause. Appear at 5 public events as his spouse. Attend a press conference if needed. Maintain discretion. Her voice drops. This does not even sound like marriage. It sounds like a job. It is a job, Adrian replies softly. But it is also the only way to keep the company from being destroyed. Maya exhales, rubbing her temples. And what if people find out this is fake? They will not, Adrian says. I have lawyers, public relations staff, and 1,000 people who would rather set themselves on fire than leak something like this. He pauses, then, quietly, but I only need one person to stand beside me tonight. She swallows again and flips to the signature page. Her hand trembles at the empty line waiting for her name. You understand this would change my life forever, she whispers. Your name is everywhere, Adrian. I cannot hide from that. You will not have to, he says, leaning slightly closer. His voice is calm but sincere. I will protect you. From the press. From Victor. From anyone who tries to use this against you. Maya closes the folder, pressing it flat beneath her palm. Why would you protect someone you barely know? Adrian hesitates, eyes fixed on hers. Because you are a good person. Because you have integrity. And because what you did this morning told me more about your character than any background check ever could. She remembers the spilled coffee, the apology, the way he had looked surprised when she giggled at his stiff posture. Had that really meant something to him? She steps back, needing space to think. The shop is empty except for the distant hum of the espresso machine cooling down for the night. She sees her reflection in the glass, a tired barista in a faded apron, hair pulled back, sneakers worn down from double shifts. And behind her reflection stands a millionaire, soaked from the rain, waiting for her answer like she is the deciding vote in his entire life. The absurdity makes her laugh under her breath. If I said yes, she murmurs, this would be the biggest mistake of my entire life. Adrian takes one slow step toward her. Or the bravest, he says. She grows still again, her heart thudding like the second hand on the clock behind her. 10:57 p.m. time is slipping through the cracks. Her sister's face flashes in her mind. Eva lying in a hospital bed, trying to smile despite fear. Bills packed into envelopes Maya cannot open anymore because they make her stomach twist. She looks at Adrian. You promise you will pay all of her medical expenses? Every single one. Yes, he answers immediately. Regardless of how this ends. The way he says it leaves no room for doubt. It is not manipulation. It is not coercion. It is simply a truth. Maya presses both hands against the counter, steadying herself. If I marry you tonight, I need one thing in return. Name it, he says. Honesty, she whispers. If we are doing this, then no lies. No hidden motives. No surprises. I have had enough of men who say one thing and mean another. Adrian's expression softens into something too raw for a man who usually looks carved from stone. Then I will give you honesty. Every step of this. Her pulse stutters. The storm crashes again. She looks at the contract. She looks at the clock. She looks at him. And with a breath that feels like a leap off a cliff, she says, "Give me a pen." Adrian hands it to her with shaking fingers. Maya uncaps it, places the tip on the signature line, and signs her name. The ink glides across the page, sealing both their fates. Adrian exhales, a sound that is almost relief and almost fear. Maya closes the folder and pushes it back to him. What now? He glances at the time. 10:59 p.m. now, he says, we get married. Part 3 ends here. The contract still feels warm from her touch as Maya stands behind the counter, staring at Adrian like she is trying to convince herself this is really happening. He tucks the folder under his arm, checks the time on his phone, and says, "We need to go. Right now." Her pulse jumps. Go where? City Hall. It is the only place open for emergency licenses at this hour. The idea of rushing into the night to marry a billionaire she barely knows sends a strange shiver through her. Not fear. Not excitement. Something tangled in between. She grabs her jacket, flips the shop sign to closed, and steps out into the storm with him. Rain slaps against the pavement in sharp, cold bursts as they run toward the black sedan parked half a block away. Adrian opens the door for her, and she hesitates for a split second before sliding into the leather seat. The moment the door shuts, the storm becomes a faint, muffled roar outside. Adrian climbs in beside her, dripping water onto the floor mats. His driver looks stunned to see Maya. "Sir, is this?" "Drive," Adrian orders, not unkindly but with urgency thick in his voice. The car speeds through rain-slick streets, passing glowing storefronts and desperate umbrellas fighting the wind. Maya grips her seat belt with one hand, her nerves buzzing. Adrian notices. "Are you all right?" he asks. She lets out a short, shaky laugh. "I just agreed to marry a man I met 12 hours ago." "No, Adrian, I am absolutely not all right." He exhales, nodding. "Fair." The honesty surprises her. He could have tried to smooth it over or play hero, but he chooses truth. She studies him as lightning flashes across the skyline. His jaw is tense, his hair plastered to his forehead, his suit soaked, but there is something almost humanizing in how uncomposed he looks. Not the perfect billionaire. Not the polished CEO. Just a man who is afraid to lose everything. The car pulls up to City Hall at 11:18 p.m. The building is tall and silent except for the single lit window on the top floor. The emergency clerk, Maya thinks. Adrian steps out first and holds a hand toward her to help her navigate the puddle. She stares at his hand for a second before taking it, her fingers cold and trembling. His grip is steady. "Come on," he says, voice soft but determined. Inside, the building smells like old paper, fluorescent lights buzzing quietly overhead. A tired clerk sits behind a thick glass window, sipping lukewarm coffee and flipping through a binder. He does not even look up when he says, "Name and purpose." Adrian clears his throat. "Emergency marriage license." The clerk glances up, sees Adrian, freezes, and nearly spills his coffee. "Mr. Blackwell?" "Sir, yes, of course, one moment." Papers shuffle. A form prints. The clerk slides it under the glass with a pen. Maya feels her stomach twist as she reads her full legal name printed beside his. Adrian writes quickly, signature confident and sharp. When it is her turn, her hand trembles again, the pen hovering above the line. Adrian notices, he leans closer, lowering his voice. "If you want to stop, Maya, we stop." She looks up at him. There is no pressure in his eyes. No expectation. Only sincerity. She signs. The clerk stamps the papers loudly, the sound echoing down the empty hallway like a gavel. "Congratulations," the clerk says, forcing a polite smile. "Just head to the efficient room at the end of the hall. They will finalize everything." Maya almost laughs at how surreal it feels. No flowers. No gown. No music. Just rainwater, legal forms, and the beating of a deadline faster than her own heart. They walk together down the long corridor, steps echoing. The efficient room is small and warm, a leftover holiday wreath still hanging above the door. The efficient looks up, startled to see them. "A midnight wedding?" That is rare. Adrian glances at Maya, then back at the officiant. "We are ready." Maya stands beside him as the officiant begins the short ceremony. Her breath comes in uneven waves. Adrian's presence beside her feels steady, grounding, impossible. When the officiant reaches the final line, he asks, "Do you, Adrian Blackwell, take Maya Hart as your lawfully wedded wife?" Adrian turns to her, and something unguarded flickers in his eyes. I do. The words land heavier than she expects. Then the officiant asks her, do you, Maya Hart, take Adrian Blackwell as your lawfully wedded husband? Her lips part, and for a heartbeat she feels the world tilt. Reality, responsibility, fear, and something faint and new rising beneath it. She whispers, I do. The officiant signs the document, stamps it, and smiles. It is official. You are now husband and wife. The clock on the wall clicks to 11:59 p.m. 1 minute before midnight. 1 minute before everything changes. Part 4 ends here. The moment the officiant declares them married, the world does not explode into fireworks. There is no sweeping music, no angelic glow, no dramatic slow motion. There is only silence, the soft hum of the heating vents, the faint ticking of the clock as it slips into midnight and splits Adrian's life into a before and an after. Maya feels her breath catch as the final second passes. 12 a.m. The deadline is gone, the empire is saved, and she has just become the legally married wife of a man she barely knows. The officiant hands them their signed certificate, wishing them luck with a tired smile. Adrian thanks him, voice low and sincere, then gently places a hand on Maya's back as they walk out of the room. The gesture surprises her. It is light, careful, nothing like the cold, commanding CEO she would have imagined. Outside the hallway, the storm has eased into a steady drizzle that taps softly against the tall windows. The building feels quieter. Now, almost reverent. Maya glances at him. So, that is it? We are really married. Adrian nods once. Yes. We made it before midnight. With exactly 1 minute to spare, she murmurs. He almost smiles, then the weight of reality settles back onto both of them. We should head back, he says, guiding her toward the exit. The driver pulls up again, the sedan shining under the streetlight. This time, when Adrian opens the door for her, Maya slides in without hesitation but with her nerves buzzing. As the car pulls away, the city lights blur across the windows, turning into streaks of gold and white. Maya watches them in silence before asking, what happens tomorrow? Adrian sits straighter, recalibrating his tone into something calmer, steadier. Tomorrow, we announce the marriage to the board. We will have to make a public statement within the next 48 hours. After that, there will be fittings, events, and photographs. Maya grimaces. Photographs? Unfortunately, yes. Many of them. She presses a hand over her face. I am not ready for all of this. I know, Adrian says. But I will handle as much of it as I can. You will not go into anything alone. The reassurance lands deeper than she expects. The storm outside thickens into a misty fog, wrapping around the car like a curtain as they glide through the city. When they reach her apartment building, the driver slows, and Maya's embarrassment prickles. The building is old, the stairs chipped, the hallway lights unreliable. This is a far cry from Adrian's empire. We are here, she says quickly, reaching for the door. But Adrian speaks before she can open it. Maya, you cannot stay here tonight. She turns. Why not? Because you are now legally tied to me. The press will swarm here by morning. Reporters dig through everything, including past addresses, family contacts, and neighbors. You will not be safe here. She hates that he is right. Reporters had harassed her once before when a local news story mistakenly included her name during a fundraiser scandal. They do not care about limits. They do not care about dignity. Adrian watches her face, reading her hesitation. I have a guest room in my penthouse. You would have privacy. A door with a lock. Security downstairs. You would be protected. Maya looks out the window at the cracked pavement, the flickering streetlight. The stairwell she has climbed 1,000 times. This place has been home for years. But tonight, it suddenly feels fragile, exposed, too breakable for what her life is becoming. Just for tonight, she says softly. Until we figure everything out. Adrian nods, and the driver pulls away again. Maya sinks deeper into the seat, staring at the quiet city as it sleeps beneath a layer of mist. By the time they reach the penthouse tower, her chest feels tight with a mixture of exhaustion and apprehension. The lobby is marble, warm, and quiet. Security guards nod as Adrian leads her to the private elevator. When the doors open on the top floor, she steps into a space that looks like a magazine spread, clean lines, soft lighting, windows stretching from floor to ceiling, the skyline glittering like a quilt of stars. She whispers, "This is unbelievable." "It is just a place," Adrian says quietly. "What matters is that you feel safe here." He walks her to the guest room and opens the door. The room glows with a gentle amber lamp, fresh sheets, a plush robe draped across the bed, a small box of toiletries carefully arranged on the nightstand. It is simple but warm. Safe. Maya steps inside, her voice soft. "Thank you." Adrian nods, lingering for a moment in the doorway. "If you need anything, I will be down the hall." She hesitates. "Good night, Adrian." He meets her eyes, something shifting behind his. "Good night, Maya." When he walks away, she closes the door, presses her back against it, and lets out a trembling breath. She is now a married woman living in a billionaire's penthouse. And nothing in her life will ever be simple again. Part 5 ends here. The guest room is quiet, but Maya cannot sleep. The sheets are soft, the pillows perfect, and the city lights glow faintly through the curtains, yet her mind refuses to rest. She lies awake, replaying the night in her head, the contract, the ceremony, Adrian's voice saying "I do" without hesitation, the impossible reality that she is now someone's wife. At around 2 a.m., she gives up on sleep and quietly pads into the hallway. The penthouse is dim except for a soft lamp in the living area. A shadow moves near the tall windows, and Maya pauses when she realizes it is Adrian. He is standing alone, shoulders tense, staring out over the sleeping city. His tie is gone, his shirt sleeves roll to his elbows, his hair still slightly damp. He looks nothing like the powerful CEO the world sees. He looks tired, human, almost fragile. She hesitates before stepping forward. "Adrian?" He turns, startled for just a second before softening. "Could not sleep." She shakes her head. "Not even a little." He gives a small, humorless smile. "Neither could I." Maya joins him by the window, keeping a respectful distance. The city stretches below them like a glittering map, each building glowing through the mist. After a quiet moment, Maya asks, "Did we make a mistake tonight?" Adrian does not answer right away. His jaw tightens slightly, like he is choosing the version of the truth that will not hurt her. But then he exhales. "I do not know," he admits. "But I do know I could not let Victor get control. He would tear the company apart. Thousands of people depend on it." She studies him, noticing the subtle tremor in his hand as he runs a thumb along the edge of his father's pocket watch. "You really loved your father, did you not?" "I did," Adrian murmurs. "And he believed in legacy. Responsibility. Commitment." He laughs softly, but the sound is tired. "He never imagined I would be 32 and still unable to choose someone to build a future with." Maya looks down at the city. "Maybe you just did not find someone who made you feel safe." Adrian lifts his gaze to her, surprised by her choice of words. "Safe. Everyone talks about love like it is some big, dramatic thing," she says, her voice steady but soft. "But sometimes it is just about having someone who tells the truth. Someone who does not use you. Someone who does not try to break you." He turns fully toward her now. "Is that what happened to you?" Maya stiffens, not expecting the question. "I have had people in my life who said one thing and did another," she says carefully. "Men who made promises they did not keep. People who treated love like a weapon. I learned the hard way that honesty is more important than anything else." Adrian is quiet for a long moment. Then he says, I meant what I said earlier tonight. No lies. No secrets. I will keep that promise. His tone is so sincere that a strange warmth settles in her chest. She should not trust him. She barely knows him. And yet something in his voice feels true. The rain begins again, tapping softly against the glass-like fingertips. Maya asks, what happens now? Between us, I mean. Adrian looks out over the city again. Now we learn how to be partners. Not lovers, not a fairy tale couple, not anything the public will assume. Just two people navigating a situation neither of us asked for. She nods. And after 30 days. The question hangs between them, heavy and uncertain. Adrian answers quietly, after 30 days, if you want out, we annul the marriage. No guilt. No pressure. She feels something pinch in her chest, though she does not know why. And if I do not want out? Adrian turns slowly, his expression unreadable but gentle. Then we talk about what comes next. The air between them shifts, softens, deepens. Not romantic, not dramatic, but something human. Something real. Maya breaks the tension with a soft breath. I should try to sleep. Adrian nods. I will see you in the morning. The board meeting is at 10. We have a lot to prepare for. Right. The whole pretending to be a married couple thing, she says with a nervous half-smile. Yes, he replies. But remember, you are not pretending alone. I am right beside you. She turns to leave, but his voice stops her. Maya? She looks back. Thank you. For signing that contract. For trusting me, even when you had every reason not to. Her heart tightens, unexpectedly moved. Good night, Adrian. Good night, Maya. She walks down the hallway back to the guest room, closing the door behind her. And for the first time since this night began, she finally feels a little less alone. Part 6 ends here. Morning sunlight slips between the tall windows of the penthouse, painting the floors in warm gold. Maya wakes to the soft glow, her mind foggy from only a few hours of sleep. For one disorienting moment, she forgets where she is, then the memories hit all at once. The contract. The wedding. Adrian's voice promising honesty. She presses a hand over her eyes, whispering to herself, I am married. I actually got married. After dressing in the only outfit she brought, she follows the smell of coffee into the kitchen. Adrian stands at the counter, sleeves rolled up, preparing 2 cups with a precision that looks far too intentional for a man who claims he never has time for breakfast. He looks up when he hears her footsteps. Good morning, Maya. She manages a smile. Good morning. He gestures at the cup nearest her. I made this the way you ordered it yesterday. Extra foam, 1 pump of vanilla, and exactly 1 packet of sugar. Maya stares, surprised he remembered. You did not have to do that. I know, he says softly. But I wanted to. Something warm flickers in her chest before she forces herself to focus. They have a long day ahead. The board meeting is at 10, right? Yes, he replies. And my team will arrive in about 30 minutes to help prepare us for the public announcement. She nearly chokes on her first sip. Prepare us? How many people are coming? Adrian hesitates. 4. 4, she repeats, eyes widening. For what? Wardrobe, public relations briefing, hair, makeup, he says calmly. You will not need much makeup, just light adjustments for camera clarity. Maya hides her face behind her coffee cup, groaning. This is too much. It is necessary, he says. But I promise they are professionals. They will treat you with respect. His reassurance helps more than she admits. A soft chime echoes from the elevator. Adrian straightens. That is them. 4 people step out, all polished, all carrying bags and equipment. They greet Adrian with stiff, respectful nods, then turn to Maya with trained smiles. "Mrs. Blackwell, it is an honor to meet you." Maya almost drops her coffee. "Please do not call me that." "Not yet." "It feels strange." "Understood," the lead stylist says warmly. "But by noon today, the world will be calling you that." The words make her stomach flip. For the next hour, the team works around her, adjusting her outfit, smoothing her hair, coaching her on posture. She feels overwhelmed, but every time she glances at Adrian, he gives her a quiet nod of encouragement. He is staying close, keeping his promise that she would not do this alone. When it is finally time to leave for the board meeting, they step into the private elevator. The walls glimmer with polished steel, reflecting their faces back at them. Maya exhales slowly. What if they do not like me? Adrian turns to her, expression steady. This is not an audition. You are my wife. That is all they need to know. She nods, but doubt still clings to her. When the elevator doors open, they step into the executive floor of Blackwell Industries. The hall is lined with tall windows, glass offices, and employees who stop mid-step when they see Adrian walking side by side with a woman none of them recognize. Whispers float behind them. Curiosity. Shock. Speculation. Maya stiffens. Adrian notices immediately and offers his arm without a word. She hesitates, then, surprisingly, she takes it. The boardroom doors are tall and heavy, made of dark wood carved with the company's emblem. Adrian pushes them open, revealing a group of 12 board members seated around a long polished table. At the head of it sits Victor Hale. His cold smile spreads slowly when he sees Maya. Well, Victor says, voice dripping with disbelief. You actually did it. You married someone. Maya feels heat rush to her face, but Adrian steps forward, blocking Victor's view of her with a subtle shift. Yes, Adrian says. Maya is my wife. The marriage is legal, binding, and completed before midnight. Victor's smile tightens. Convenient. Factual, Adrian corrects sharply. Maya stands straighter, refusing to shrink under Victor's stare. But then something unexpected happens, a photographer bursts through the door before security can stop him. In a blinding flash, the camera captures Maya's startled expression, Adrian's protective stance, and Victor's smirk. The photographer shouts, Mr. Blackwell, is it true? Did you hire this woman to marry you? Did you pay her? Is this marriage fake? Maya freezes, heart slamming against her ribs. Fake. Hired. Bought. The words slice through her like cold steel. Adrian moves fast, stepping between the photographer and his wife. His voice is low but powerful. You will delete those photos now. But the damage is already done. The boardroom is buzzing, Victor is grinning like a shark, and Maya feels the ground tilt beneath her feet. The first hit has landed. And it is a direct strike at her dignity. Part 7 ends here. The boardroom erupts into noise, chairs scrape, voices rise, the photographer is dragged out by security, still shouting accusations that echo down the hall. Maya stands frozen in the center of the storm, her heartbeat pounding so hard she can barely hear anything else. Fake. Hired. Bought. The words replay in her mind with cruel sharpness. Adrian turns toward her, eyes dark with anger, but not at her, never at her. Maya, are you all right? She forces a stiff nod, even though her throat burns. Victor leans back in his chair, tapping a pen against the table with smug delight. Well, this is quite the scandal, Adrian. A mystery bride suddenly appears right before the deadline, and now the press is calling it a contract marriage. Adrian's jaw tightens. This marriage is legal and private. What the press speculates does not concern this board. Victor smiles wider. It does when those speculations damage the company. He turns his cold gaze toward Maya. Tell me, Mrs. Blackwell, how much did Adrian offer you? Enough to pay off your debts? Enough to buy something nicer than whatever that outfit is. A low murmur ripples through the room. Maya's stomach twists. She feels exposed, insulted, and outnumbered. But before she can open her mouth, Adrian steps in front of her, shielding her from Victor's sneer. "You will not speak to my wife like that," he says sharply. "Not now. Not ever." The room falls silent. Victor's eyes narrow. "You seem very protective of a woman you barely know." Adrian fires back without hesitation. "I know enough." But the damage is already spreading. Board members whisper, eyebrows raised, questions forming. Maya cannot breathe. She grips the back of a chair to steady herself. Adrian notices, lowering his voice. "We can step out if you need a minute." She shakes her head. "No. I am fine," she whispers, even if the tremble in her voice betrays her. The meeting continues, but the atmosphere is poisoned. Charts are shown. Financial projections are discussed. Yet every few minutes, someone glances at Maya, as if waiting for her to slip, to reveal something unworthy. Victor seizes every opportunity to sow doubt. "How long have you known each other? Where did you meet? Does she understand the responsibilities expected of a Blackwell spouse?" Adrian blocks every question, redirecting with practiced control. But Maya can feel the judgment slicing into her skin like invisible blades. At last, the board votes to uphold Adrian's position as CEO, but only under tight scrutiny. The marriage, they say, must be presented publicly as genuine. Any scandal will give Victor grounds to challenge again. When the meeting ends, Maya barely makes it out of the boardroom before her composure shatters. She steps into one of the quiet hallways, pressing a hand over her mouth to hide the way her breath quivers. Adrian follows quickly. "Maya," he says, reaching for her shoulder. She steps back. Not because she is afraid of him, but because she cannot let herself fall apart while he is watching. "They think I am a gold digger," she whispers. "They think you bought me. They think I am a joke." "None of that is true," he says firmly. "They do not know you." She shakes her head, tears stinging her eyes. "It does not matter. They already made up their minds." Adrian's expression cracks with guilt. "This is my fault. I should have prepared for something like this. I should have protected you." A tear slips down her cheek, and she quickly wipes it away. "Adrian, I do not belong in your world. I could barely afford rent 2 days ago. Your board hates me. Reporters are hunting me. And I am married to a man I met yesterday." He steps closer, voice steady. "You are married to a man who respects you." She looks at him, startled. Adrian continues, "You walked into a hostile room today and stood your ground. You were brave. And you do belong here, Maya. With or without wealth, with or without status." She wants to believe him. She wants to let his words anchor her. But doubt claws at her chest. "This was supposed to be temporary," she murmurs. 30 days. That is it. "Yes," Adrian says quietly. "But those 30 days do not have to break you." She finally meets his eyes, searching for the truth he promised her on the night they married. She finds it. Vulnerable. Unfiltered. Human. But before she can speak, a vibration buzzes in Adrian's pocket. He checks his phone, and his expression darkens. "What is it?" she asks. "The photo," he says slowly. "It was leaked online already. It is everywhere." Maya feels the world tilt again, the air thinning around her. The accusations, the shame, the spotlight she never wanted, it all tightens around her throat. Adrian steps closer, his voice low. "Maya, listen to me. I will handle this. I will fix everything." She swallows hard, her voice barely audible. "And what about me, Adrian? Who is going to fix me?" The question hangs painfully between them. He does not have an answer. Not yet. Part 8 ends here. The leak spreads faster than either of them expected. By evening, Maya's name is trending online alongside brutal headlines. Anonymous accounts call her a scammer, a gold digger, a desperate woman who latched onto a billionaire for survival. Photos of her modest apartment building surface. Old posts from her social media are dragged out and twisted. Strangers speculate about her family, her motives, her worth. Maya watches the tidal wave rise and swallow every piece of her life that once felt private. She sits on the edge of the penthouse guest bed, hands shaking as her phone buzzes non-stop. The words blur together, cruel and sharp, until she finally drops her phone onto the mattress and presses her palms to her eyes. I cannot do this, she whispers to herself. I cannot live like this. A soft knock on the door makes her flinch. Maya? Adrian's voice is gentle, careful, like he is afraid she might break. She does not respond. He steps inside slowly, closing the door behind him. He is still wearing the same suit from the board meeting, but the exhaustion on his face makes him look older, rawer, painfully human. I am so sorry, he says quietly. I should have seen this coming. I should have protected you from the beginning. She shakes her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. You cannot protect me from the entire world, Adrian. I did not sign up for this kind of hate. I cannot breathe with people watching me, judging me, tearing me apart. He sits beside her, not touching her, just close enough to be there. Tell me what you need. Whatever it is, I will make it happen. I need my life back, she says, voice cracking. I need to feel like a person again, not a headline. This marriage, this arrangement, everything is too much. Maybe it was a mistake. Adrian's expression tightens, but he does not look away. Instead, he takes a slow breath and reaches for something inside his jacket. It is the pocket watch, the one that belonged to his father. The one he never lets anyone touch. He sets it gently on the bed between them. Do you know why my father gave me this? He asks softly. He told me that leadership is not about control. It is about responsibility. About choosing what is right even when it costs you everything. Maya looks up, confused by the sudden shift. Adrian continues, I told myself I needed this company because it was my father's legacy. But tonight, seeing what you are going through because of me, I realize I was wrong. Her breath catches. What are you saying? Adrian lifts the watch lightly, then places it in her hands. I went to the board an hour ago. I signed a temporary transfer of authority. Victor will take over operations while an investigation is conducted into the leak. And I stepped away voluntarily. Maya's eyes widen. Adrian, you gave up your company? I gave up control, he says. There is a difference. And I did it because I refused to let you carry the weight of my world alone. She stares at him, stunned. No man has ever chosen her over power. No man has ever sacrificed anything for her, let alone something this enormous. Why would you do that? She whispers. Because you matter to me, he answers simply. Not as a legal partner. Not as a shield for the company. But as Maya. And I will not let your life be destroyed just because you were kind enough to help me. Her throat tightens with emotion she cannot name. I did not expect you to, I know, he says. But I meant my promise. No lies. No secrets. No more putting the company above you. She looks down at the watch in her hands, feeling the weight of his decision. The weight of his honesty. And something inside her softens, breaking open like morning light after a long storm. Adrian, she whispers, I do not want you to lose everything because of me. I am not losing anything, he replies. I am choosing something. Her breath trembles. Choosing what? Choosing you. The words land with a warmth that spreads through her chest. She meets his eyes, and for the first time since their marriage began, nothing about this moment feels forced or staged. It feels real. Quietly real. Human and hopeful. Adrian stands and extends a hand to her. Come with me, he says. Where are we going? To start rebuilding your life. Our life. Together. On our terms. Maya takes his hand, rising from the bed. Their fingers intertwine naturally, without hesitation. Without fear. As they step out of the room, the city lights shimmer through the penthouse windows, soft and golden, like the world is finally beginning to understand that love is not about timing or contracts or power. It is about choice. And for the first time, they are choosing each other. Part 9 ends here.